guys, in this month's Disney Rewind, we're going to be talking about The Incredibles, released in 2004. So, The Incredibles follows a family of superheroes as they are trying to fight the dastardly villain syndrome. And that's about it for plot. Because we were just talking about this literally just a second before we hit the record. Because I was trying to think about what the actual plot is. And really, when you think about it, this movie is more heavily focused on character than plot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Because I actually kind of like that. But yeah, Stephanie, how did you feel about The Incredibles? Incredibles number 1.
You know, to be honest, I actually didn't really like The Incredibles when it first came out.
Really?
I don't know, I was kind of bored with it. But rewatching it now, I enjoyed it a lot more. I don't know if I was just maybe at that time of my age, I just wasn't interested in that type of story, or, you know, I'm not sure what it was, but I like it now.
I feel like I'm in the same boat that, well, I think I did like it when it first came out, but then I think I had the same problem I had with, like, Finding Nemo. We talked about this in our Finding Nemo discussion, that we
overdone?
Yeah, that, you know, it's like I kind of remember liking Finding Nemo, but then, yeah, just the overwhelming amounts of Nemo just everywhere, like, just kind of being pushed in your face. And then it kind of made me not like Nemo. But then when we rewatched... Yeah, when
I like Nemo again.
When we sat and rewatched Finding Nemo a little while back, it was like, oh man, I actually really love this movie. And I feel like I had the same thing happen with Incredibles. Because I feel like I recall, like, oh, I really like this movie, but then, yeah, just kind of it being, like, shoved in your face. And, like,
tired of hearing about The Incredibles.
Getting just so fed up with The Incredibles and hearing about it, and then you it's like, it kind of ruins your memory of enjoying it. But then, yeah, when we just rewatched it, I was like, man, I really do like this.
Yeah, because leading up to, because didn't they always kind of talk about a second one? Hadn't they been talking about it, long ago?
Yeah, they've been talking about a second one for a very long time.
So, like, just leading up to
Which we just now got, what, in 2018?
Yeah, and then, like, just leading up to it and stuff, and they kept going on about it, and how much big of a gap there was in between the two movies, and I was like, who cares? You know, like, why do we need a second Incredibles? But then, you know, I liked that too. But I was thinking, I don't really like the first movie.
So yeah, upon a rewatch of Incredibles, which, God, I think this is one of our first rewatches. I don't really remember sitting and rewatching it.
Yeah, because we don't have it on DVD. And I don't think we ever really watched it on TV. Maybe, I mean, I think we had to have watched bits and pieces. Because I remember stuff.
Yeah, I think this is like the first rewatch in full in a very, very long time. And yeah, I couldn't really remember anything about it. So yeah, a lot of it was kind of fresh. It's like I kind of got memory sparks as we went along, but yeah, I really enjoyed this rewatch. It was really good. And yeah, like I mentioned, the movie is very heavily focused on character more than plot.
Because it just took practically half an hour to get to Mr. Incredible starting to do those missions for the one people.
Yeah, because this movie, it's close to 2 hours. Yeah. It's pretty much right there at 2 hours. For a Disney Pixar movie, that's pretty long. And it does, this movie, I think what's kind of refreshing about this movie, now that I've rewatched it, I think what's refreshing is that it spends so much time building up the characters and the world, and then, yeah, when you finally do get to the whole family teaming up, then it feels worthwhile, and you feel attached and invested in what's going on with them. You know? So, yeah, because, you know, a lot of Disney movies, you kind of get briefly introduced to the characters, and it just kind of heads right off into the plot of what's going on. Because, yeah, most Disney movies are about an hour and a half, you know? And, yeah, this movie, it's like, oh, we're going to spend a lot of time, you're going to get to know everybody, and what all the family drama is, and all these little nuances that really add and build to once you finally do get to the end.
Then it kind of helps too, because like going into the second one, you know, not remembering much from the first one. Now it makes the second one make sense a little more, you know, because then like this movie was so heavily focused on Mr. Incredible, and him becoming, you know,
Mr. Incredible again.
yeah, and then that's where it comes in with the second one, that it's her time to shine because she felt left out. So I was like, you know, now it kind of makes sense because I kind of forgot, you know, how much Mr. Incredible was in this way more.
You know, it's just funny with this movie because whenever I think about this movie, I always think that the family kind of teams up early, and but they don't really team up as a family until literally the very end when the movie's just about over.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's probably way over into an hour when they kind of get to that island where Mr. Incredible is, and they're still not fully together.
Yeah.
Yeah, till like that last maybe 20 minutes or
Yeah.
so.
And yeah, the movie, what the movie does really good too is giving you that sense of world building because you get those flashbacks. You hardly ever get flashbacks in a Disney movie. You know, a lot of times you're told about stuff. I really like the flashbacks, how Mr. and Mrs. Incredible kind of first met, and then they got married. And yeah, what the world was like, because they are superheroes, and superheroes are the thing, and they're heroes, and they're saving people. But then, yes, some stuff happens, and superheroes are no longer the thing, and they're forced to. It was very Marvel.
It was with
very
the whole
the registration act that they have to do. Like you have to be known as a superhero. You have to register that you are one, so people can keep a tab on you. And everything. It was very much like Civil War, kind of. So we're not totally similar, but you know, in there. But yeah, I like that world building. Like I said, building up the characters before you even get to the plot. You get this whole big flashback, you know, which lasts for a pretty long time. And yeah, Syndrome. Really kind of building up Syndrome. Syndrome, I wouldn't say he's still not a very three-dimensional villain for me. He still seems kind of one-dimensional because I hear a lot of people talk about that they think Syndrome is one of the best Pixar villains or just Disney villains in general, and I'm always like, what? Yeah, I'm like, what?
like just because he was rejected?
I don't know. And yeah, he still is just very one-dimensional to me in this movie, but still, what this movie does is give that little bit of a backstory with that flashback about him kind of being a fanboy and wanted to be Mr. Incredible's sidekick, you know, kind of like Robin, you know, Robin to Batman, and kind of building that up. But yeah, it's like he still comes across as one-dimensional later because he's just kind of evil. You know, it almost seems like he's evil for the sake of being evil.
And then, it went into, this movie was 2004, but then it went into, okay, Spider-Man was like long ago. When I don't know when that story for the second Spider-Man was created in the comics. If it was it a comic thing? The second Spider-Man was the storyline.
Probably, it might have been. I don't know.
But anyway,
you talking about the Tobey Maguire one?
No.
Oh.
The Marvel.
Oh, the Marvel. Oh, with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of a sudden,
so you got to specify what Spider-Man you're talking about because we've had 3 different
all
ones.
of a sudden, it turns into this second Spider-Man with what's his name?
Oh, Mysterio.
Mysterio.
Okay,
because Syndrome was he was unleashing a robot thing into the city, but then he himself was going to take this thing down and make it look like he was the hero.
He's the
when
hero.
he wasn't. He was just trying to like get into people's minds. Like,
okay.
So all of a sudden, with his character, it turned into that plot line of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. This movie, for a Disney Pixar movie, it's pretty serious. It tackles some pretty serious subject matter. It's still very funny. You know, it's still a very funny movie, but it definitely, I think they kind of intended it more like adults are going to get this movie.
What was weird though, I mean, like, I also felt like though that this movie was geared more towards boys, you know, because they don't really have nothing.
Except for Cars.
So,
this came out before Cars.
Yeah, so I feel like, you know, this is kind of who was intended for the most. But yeah, it's got so much more adult stuff, content in it, and it's like kids are just gonna like it for like the other kids.
Yeah,
you know, in the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of serious subject matter in here because just the notion of the Registration Act that the superheroes have to go through, you know, is a serious topic. And because you can parallel that to other types of things, you know, and then Mr. Incredible has his lame job. It's terrible and boring. And then, yeah, him and Frozone going out, you know, secretly and doing stuff. And then, yeah, in the meantime, Mrs. Incredible, she thinks that her husband's having an affair with Mirage and everything. And, yeah, the movie never, you know, Mrs. Incredible never comes out and bluntly says, oh, my God, you're having an affair, you know, because that would be a little too adult in a kid's movie to downright say that.
But you know that's what she's
thinking.
But, yeah,
as an adult watching the movie, you know exactly what she's thinking. You know exactly what she's thinking. So, yeah, there's a lot of serious topics, especially in that first half of the movie, before it actually gets into the big plot, you know.
And then there's some, like, nasty deaths. I mean, well, they have that one funny flashback where...
the capes, about the capes.
Edna Mode is like, this is why you don't want the cape, because Mr. Incredible was like, yeah, let's add the cape. And she's like, no. And so they had this funny little flashback thing of, remember this guy, and him, and
they all died because of their capes. Yeah, that was hilarious. I love that. Yeah, because, you know, like Thor. Thor has a cape. Who else? Is Thor the only one that has a cape? I know Vision, but Vision's like...
He's weird.
He's weird. He can do anything. He can just take off... But yeah, it made me think of like Thor especially. I was like, Thor needs to get rid of his cape. I was watching the
I was like, Strange.
Yeah,
but at least Doctor Strange, his can unattach.
His cape is animated though.
You know, so it can get out of danger
he has
better.
Feeling. That cape has feeling. Yeah, talk about Syndrome. Syndrome John. That was good.
Yeah, because you kind of forget about the cape thing, and then he's getting sucked up, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, at the very end of the movie, if you don't recall, Syndrome, he's up, but there's like a plane or whatever, his plane, I guess, maybe, and he gets sucked into the propellers, essentially, and
you hear,
and yeah, chopped up. So yeah, as far as gruesome Disney deaths go, that's definitely up there. You know, that he literally,
he died horribly.
Yeah, because at the time you're kind of thinking, you're thinking back to Edna and what she said about the capes, and it's kind of funny. You know, you're kind of thinking, this is kind of funny, this is what happened, because his arrogant self was like, I'm going to have a cape and be cool, but look what happens. But then, yeah, when you truly think about it, it's like, oh my God, that was actually pretty gruesome, how he died, you know, for a Disney villain, that's pretty gruesome, and yeah, it makes you think of, like, Scar getting ate up by the hyenas, and then even Hopper got ate by a bird, you know, and then, yeah, Clayton from Tarzan getting, you know, Clayton pretty much hangs himself, you know, it's an accident, but he pretty much hangs himself. So yeah, as far as villain deaths, oh God, I'd probably have to rank that on up there pretty high. And then, kind of just some more serious subject matter, because I know we were talking about, like, the serious adult stuff, but, I mean, even the kids are dealing with some pretty serious things, because Dash... He has the super speed.
And he wants to play sports, just like all the other, most of the boys probably in his class.
Yeah, but is he cheating? You know, he has to kind of hold back. He has to know how to hold back. And then, yeah, when you're first introduced to Dash at the beginning of the movie, he's sitting there playing the prank on the teacher. You know, he has a bit of an attitude and some issues, you know. And then Violet, it's like her ability kind of manifests with how she kind of feels personally inside, because she feels invisible, you know, or she wants to be invisible, and she can't talk to people, she can't talk to boys, you know. So there's like that. And then, yeah, Jack is just Jack. I mean, we find out more about Jack in movie 2, but we're not talking about that.
Doesn't give a crap about anything in the
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even the kids are having some issues. They're going through some deep stuff too, like personal, you know, serious issues that real kids deal with. But yeah, they have special powers as part of it, you know.
There were no songs.
No songs.
But the music was good. It had
what happened to Randy Newman? I'm kind of surprised they didn't just have Randy Newman in there singing.
It had good, like, scoring, though. It had that, you know, good comic movie.
It did. It had like, kind of that traditional comic, like, when you think back to comics, that comic book shows, probably like the early Batman TV show and stuff like that. It's kind of had that sound and vibe to it. Do we have anything else to really talk about other than we really like Incredibles? No? Stephanie, if you had to rank Incredibles on a scale of 1 to 10 Mickey ears, what would you give it?
8.
8? Oh my goodness, Stephanie.
What do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'll give it a 9. Well, that's not bad, I guess. I'm giving it a 9. Because I was thinking, should I give it a 10? I don't know. I think I'll give Incredibles a 9, like a very high 9. Yeah, I really enjoyed this rewatch. It was very pleasantly surprising. A lot of stuff that I've forgotten about. I forgot about how much I actually did really like the movie. Yeah, great characters, great story, great setup before you do head into the big plot. And then, yeah, once you do get to that big plot, then that's where you get to, like, the traditional kind of superhero stuff. So, Stephanie, any final words? How'd you feel?
It was good all around.
Is that all you got to say?
Yep.
Stephanie's not one for many words. So is that it for our review, Stephanie?
Yep.
That's it for our review of The Incredibles. In the comments below, have you guys seen The Incredibles? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let us know some of your favorite parts and your favorite characters. So that's it for this review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.